We have a shakeup over at Fox News that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So apparently a producer was just fired. I think he says he resigns, but that's questionable. I think he was fired over a Chyron, which said Biden is a wannabe dictator. This was on Fox News. Middle of the day type stuff. Wannabe dictator speaks at the White House after having his political rival arrested. Let's break this down. First of all, Joe Biden has not been hands-on with this case in any way, shape, or form. Joe Biden barely knows where he is, okay? He's giving gun reform speeches in Connecticut where he says, God save the Queen, man. He's giving speeches where he ends it with, lick the world. He doesn't know if he's coming. He doesn't know if he's going. Apparently, they don't schedule anything for him after 4 o'clock in the afternoon because his brain doesn't function after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you think Biden is calling the shots and having his political rival arrested? I got a bridge to sell you if you believe that. By the way, which is it? Is Biden feckless, weak? Are other people in control and he's just, the face? Or is he a wannabe dictator? Which is it? Is he ruthless and conniving and pulling the strings and in control of everything? Or is he the doddering old fool who can't get out of the goddamn bed? You got to make your mind up. But they don't. They just throw everything against the wall. So here's what they say. Fox News producer who aired the Joe Biden wannabe dictator graphic has spoken out about leaving the network. Alexander McCaskill posted a photo to his Instagram account showing him holding a cardboard box outside of Fox's New York offices. Today was my last day at Fox. It was a wild 10 years, and it was the best place I've ever worked because of the great people I met. But the time has come. I asked them to let me go, and they finally did. To all my friends, I will miss you forever. Again, let me go on the record here and say, I don't believe him. I think he was fired. I think he's trying to save face by saying I resigned, maybe try to get a job at Newsmax or One American News or something like that. But I think he was fired. They continue here. The controversial Chyron appeared during a split screen Tuesday night after former President Donald Trump was arraigned on 37 federal counts. Biden appeared on the left of the screen while Trump addressed his supporters in Bedminster on the right. During the dueling speeches, the Chyron read, wannabe dictator speaks at White House after having his political rival arrested. The Chyron was taken down after only a few seconds, and Fox later issued a statement. Quote, the Chyron was taken down immediately and was addressed. Fox has not yet commented on McCaskill's Instagram post. McCaskill was the former managing editor for Tucker Carlson Tonight before Fox abruptly fired Carlson and the show ended in late April. Now, let me pause here to say, is this the guy who was a regular on fascist message boards? Because there was a big story about how a producer for Tucker Carlson was a regular on fascist message boards. Is this the same guy? I don't know. Maybe. My guess is you don't rise to that high a position on Tucker Carlson's show unless you have stuff like that in your background. McCaskill stayed on at 8 p.m. and ran the controversial Chyron during Fox News Tonight, which has replaced Carlson's show. On his new show, Tucker on Twitter, Carlson claimed that Fox fired McCaskill after the women who run the network panicked. Again, I think it's true that he is fired. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about the Fox graphic during a press briefing and referenced the Dominion settlement. There are probably about 787 million things I can say about this, she said. That was wrong, what we saw last night, but I don't think I'm going to get into it. Let me explain to this guy the issue here. Let me explain it to him. Because I doubt he knows the problem. The problem here, buddy, is that Fox News tries to give themselves plausible deniability about being fair and balanced, about being neutral, about just calling balls and strikes. They try to give themselves some wiggle room, some plausible deniability. Because the move, yes, is to preach to the choir, the Republican base. But the move also is to not alienate the independents, the moderates, the center-right people, the swing voter. And when you let your nuts hang out like this in your Chyron, wannabe dictator speaks at White House after having his political rival arrested, there is no more plausible deniability. You're chugging the Kool-Aid. You're all in on the hyper-partisan drivel. So they can't have that. Now, look, there are other outlets out there that would fit this guy better. Newsmax isn't trying to play the game. They're not trying to have plausible deniability. They're not trying to reach a broad audience. They're trying to preach to the choir, and that's it. Newsmax will have you. One America News will have you. But this is not something that can fly on Fox. And the main takeaway from this story is what? Look, guys, they've lost control of their fringe. You know who's steering the ship? It ain't Fox News. They're just along for the ride. And I will say this. It is deeply, deeply ironic that you're going to call Biden a wannabe dictator when the last guy brought us January 6th. The last guy was like, hey, march to the Capitol, make sure you're strong. You got to be strong. You can only take our country back with strength. He was begging Mike Pence to do the right thing, throw out the results of the election. He called Georgia and said, find me 11,000 votes. So you want to talk about a wannabe dictator and you want to compare Biden to Trump? Homie, it's not even close. Not remotely close. So it is rich. It is rich, it is ironic, and it is laughable that they're calling Biden the wannabe dictator over Donald Trump. But this is not good. And I will say, final point, this is the last thing you want at a moment like this where we know everything is super volatile. We know. We know that there's no good end to this. We know Trump can win the primary and then win the general. We know he can win the primary and then lose the general, but claim he won anyway and cause chaos and mayhem and havoc. We know he could lose the primary and then claim the primary's rigged and go after DeSantis and say, I'm going to run third party and just tank the entire Republican Party. That would be the least bad scenario of all the scenarios. But no matter what, it's going to be messy and it's going to be ugly. And you have people like this who are just feeding the division and the bogus narratives. The idea that Joe Biden is hands-on in this. Look, I have no doubt Joe Biden is probably considering pardoning Donald Trump, even if Donald Trump goes down on a lot of these charges. I guarantee you he's considering it at the very least. But they've made him out to be this far right-winger, far left-winger, this communist. They've made him out to be that, even though time and time and time again, he's bipartisan. He reaches across the aisle. He gives credit to the Mitch McConnell types. They cut deals behind the scenes. All that's ignored for this total fabrication that he's like Maduro and going after all of his rivals. It's laughable. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.